Hello and good day to everyone. This is Preveen Ramamoorthy. I am the chair of the India track at the 2022 World Stem Cell Summit titled Regenerative Medicine and Cell Therapy, the India Landscape. Why are we doing this India track at the World Stem Cell Summit this year? Our goal is to catalyze collaborations between Indian industry, academia, patients with their counterparts globally, and particularly between India and the US. The Regenerative Medicine Foundation, Cellbridge Strategies are excited to present for the first time at the World Stem Cell Summit an entire series of talks featuring the landscape of regenerative medicine and cell therapy in India. This India track is co-sponsored by Cellbridge Strategies and BioServe, a ReproCell company. I'd like to say a few words about myself. I've spent about 2 decades of my research and development career in 3 distinct biopharmaceutical segments, cell therapy and regenerative medicine, vaccines and biologics, and precision medicine diagnostics. In these 2 decades, I've led and contributed to numerous public and private initiatives in biopharmaceuticals, clinical diagnostics, patient advocacy between India and the US. One of my big passions is and continues to be catalyzing Indo-US synergy in the biopharmaceutical and the healthcare space. I'm an adjunct faculty member at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. And in my capacity today, I'm the advisor to Cellbridge Strategies, a business consulting firm in regenerative medicine and a premier consultant to the World Stem Cell Summit. So we have structured the India track at the World Stem Cell Summit to showcase various facets of the regenerative medicine and cell therapy landscape, such as the Indian government policy, academic research, translational research, manufacturing infrastructure, clinical infrastructure, regulatory environment, commercialization environment, the biotech talent pool in India, and such. Our distinguished speakers represent the spectrum of the rapidly growing India regenerative medicine and cell therapy ecosystem, representing academia, government policy, industry, and entrepreneurs across the spectrum. This track includes a plenary address by Dr. Renu Swarup, former Secretary of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. This will be followed by panel presentations by Dr. Mahendra Rao and Dr. Ram Mandalam, who are key opinion leaders and entrepreneurs in the field of regenerative medicine and stem cell therapy. The India industry perspective presentations feature CEOs from leading stem cell companies from India, B.N. Manohar, CEO of Stempeutics, Dr. Jogin Desai, CEO of iStem, Dr. Subhadra Dravida, CEO of Transcell Biologics, and Uday Chatterjee, investor and director, Transcell Biologics. The Indian academic perspective presentation features Dr. Manisha Inamdar, professor, chair of molecular biology genetics at the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, and a faculty at INSTEM, which is India's premier stem cell research institute located in Bangalore. The plenary address, as I mentioned, has been delivered by Dr. Renu Swarup, former Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, the Government of India. A little bit about Dr. Swarup. She has led a network of about 16 research institutes across India, 2 public sector organizations, and an R&D network of more than 5,000 projects across 100 research institutes, universities, and laboratories as the former Secretary of, as the Secretary of Biotechnology within the Ministry of Science and Technology. During the recent COVID pandemic, she led India's COVID vaccine diagnostic and genome sequencing mission. Dr. Swarup was the founding managing director and chairperson of BIRAC, a Government of India-owned not-for-profit company. BIRAC was really created to provide risk capital for high-risk biotech industry projects. And so far, BIRAC has supported more than 5,000 startups and over 60 incubators across India. Next, I'd like to summarize Dr. Swaroop's plenary talk for you. In her talk, Dr. Swaroop provides a historical perspective of the Government of India's efforts in establishing an ecosystem in cell therapy and regenerative medicine, spanning academia, regulatory, business, science, manufacturing, and the clinical ecosystem. The focus of the government, according to Dr. Swaroop, has been to ensure affordability, accessibility to cell therapy and regenerative medicine therapies to the broader Indian population. Dr. Swaroop highlights a few accomplishments that came out of these initiatives from the Government of India. Establishment of INSTEM, a premier stem cell research institute for basic, translational, and clinical research, building multiple research institutes across India to conduct basic, translational, and clinical research in regenerative medicine and cell therapy. In addition, these facilities were meant to serve as incubation facilities for startups. Thirdly, the creation of BIRAC, which I mentioned earlier, which is sort of a very unique entity that's a not-for-profit company owned by the Government of India in order to provide risk capital for the various industries operating in high-risk areas, and regenerative medicine and cell therapy were focus areas for the funding. And one of the Indian companies that's been funded by BIRAC, called ImmunoAct, located in Mumbai at the Indian Institute of Technology, actually has developed an indigenous technology to manufacture CAR T-cell therapeutics at an affordable price for the Indian patients and for the global patients. Currently, the company is pursuing early stage clinical trial work in India after the requisite regulatory approvals. Dr. Swaroop ends her plenary talk with the hope that more global collaborations take place between Indian and global researchers and companies in the field of regenerative medicine and cell therapy. So moving on from the plenary talk, our first India track panel presentation comes from Dr. Mahendra Rao, CEO of Implant Therapeutics, a US-based stem cell therapeutics company. Dr. Rao needs no introduction. He is highly published in the area of pluripotent stem cells. And he also is a faculty of INSTEM, India's premier stem cell research institute located in Bangalore. Dr. Rao is internationally known for his research involving human embryonic stem cells and other somatic stem cells. He has worked in the stem cell field for more than 30 years with stints in academia, government, regulatory affairs, and industry. In his talk, Dr. Rao presents an overview of the Indian regulatory, academic, industry, venture funding landscape in cell therapy and regenerative medicine. An interesting point that he delves into is a regulatory path for commercializing foreign country approved cell therapies and or drugs, such as FDA approved or EMA approved, versus developing novel drugs and cell therapies that originate from India. Our second India track panel presentation comes from Dr. Ramamoorthy, CEO of Citra Bioconsulting, a cell therapy and biologics consulting company located in the Bay Area in the US. He serves on the board of Stempeutics, an India-based stem cell therapeutics company. A little while later, you're going to hear a talk from the CEO of Stempeutics. Dr. Mandalam has had 30 years of R&D experience in regenerative medicine and cell therapy. He's also been a CEO of a cell therapy company, and his talk covers the evolution of stem cell research and cell therapy in topics such as hematopoietic stem cell transplants, both allogenic and autologous for malignancies, hematological malignancies, and hematological disorders. He also discusses new and exciting work that's going on in the gene therapy space in India, which is right at the Christian Medical College in Vellore, in the area of thalassemia, and also gene editing clinical trials as well. Dr. Mandalam discusses opportunities in India for the cell therapy and regenerative medicine space, particularly in the science, the clinical infrastructure, and the talent pool. He also highlights a challenge where he talks about the fact that we need to establish more stem cell transplant centers in India. In his view, India has 4 times the population of the US, and just does 2,000 transplants in a year. And in the US, which has about 4 times less population than India, there are about 20,000 transplants a year. So he's provided some statistics about the number of transplants that occur in India and the US, which to me was very interesting. And I just made the population, I added the population aspect of it just to compare and contrast as to the difference in population size versus the transplants going on in the hematopoietic stem cell arena. We are now moving on from the panel presentations to the India industry perspective. Our first speaker for the India industry perspective is Dr. Jogin Desai, a physician scientist, founder and CEO of iStem, an India-based stem cell therapeutics company with a mission of creating innovative and affordable stem cell therapies. Dr. Desai takes us into the allogenic pluripotent stem cell therapeutics product, technology development at iStem. His company is developing stem cell therapeutics for age-related macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, and idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. His presentation covers the pros and cons of developing drugs and cell therapies in India in terms of the science infrastructure, market size, and venture funding. Our second speaker for the India industry perspective is B.N. Manohar, Managing Director and CEO of Stempeutics, an India-based stem cell therapeutics company. Manohar takes us through the 13-year journey of Stempeutics in developing an allogenic mesenchymal stromal cell-based therapy for 3 indications: critical limb ischemia caused by Berger's disease, critical limb ischemia caused by peripheral arterial disease, and knee osteoarthritis. Stempeutics is commercializing its MSC therapeutics products in partnership with multi-billion-dollar Indian pharmaceutical companies, Cipla and Alchem Laboratories. His talk covers the pioneering regulatory collaboration that Stempeutics has had with the Indian FDA, which is called the Drug Controller General of India, DCGI, to develop the regulatory framework for regenerative medicine and cell therapy products. Our last speakers for the India industry perspective are Dr. Subhadra Dravida, founder and CEO of Transcell Biologics, and Uday Chatterjee, investor and director of Transcell Biologics, an India-based stem cell company located in Hyderabad. Dr. Dravida's and Mr. Chatterjee's presentation provide an overview of the breadth and depth of Transcell's extensive technology and product portfolio for life science and clinical applications. They describe the unique pluripotent stem cell technology and their work in stem cell-based drug discovery platforms for oncology and neurology, stem cell-based safety testing platforms for drugs and vaccines, and a stem cell biobanking, and also scale up and manufacturing of stem cells. We are now moving on from the panel presentations to the India academic perspective. Dr. Manisha Inamdar, Professor, Chair of Molecular Biology and Genetics at the Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research, and is also a faculty member at the INSTEM, India's premier stem cell research institute located in Bangalore. Dr. Inamdar talks about her journey to establish the first human embryonic stem cell lines representing the Indian genetic background internationally. And Dr. Inamdar also discusses the basic translational and clinical research landscape in India and the challenges and the opportunities. And she particularly points to the need for more clinical translational efforts and also to grow science talent and trained scientists in stem cell sciences. This India track would not have been possible without the support of Bernie Siegel, the organizer of the World Stem Cell Summit and the founder of the Regenerative Medicine Foundation, Dr. Jane Andrews, CEO, Celebrate Strategies, and Ramamoorthy, CEO of ReproCell. A special thank you to Kevin McMahon, Regenerative Medicine Foundation, Dr. Ram Mandalam and Dr. Mahendra Rao, and all our speakers for their time and commitment to put together this exciting India track together. I hope you enjoy the talks by all of our distinguished speakers. Wishing you many successes in your work and collaborations with your peers from India. Thank you so much. Good day.